Well, the new economy is all part of what we're calling the shift. A lot of people are talking about the shift that's taking place right now in the world. It's not just in the United States of America, it's all over the world. There's a global shift taking place. The old ways of doing things seem to be shifting, changing. We've seen it happen in all the old institutional things that we sort of took for granted: finance, education, family, religion. These are all things that mankind builds up and kind of starts relying on in almost a subconscious way. Well, a lot of this is being rattled and shaken, and there's a lot of disruption going on, which is exciting, really. And if you begin to understand that you are connected, in that you're connected to your divine consciousness, which is your true self, then all this stuff that's going on is exciting rather than frightening. But if you're totally relying on your outer world to support you, and you believe that everything is proven by your five senses, this is the more scientific approach that people take, then you could be in for a very rocky ride, because you just don't know what's going to be happening in many of these areas. And if you have that inner peace that only comes from connecting with your true divine self, it will carry you through anything. And that's where you want to be. So this is why people that call themselves light workers are stepping forward and bringing their messages into the world to help as many people as we can right now as we go through this big transition called the shift. The first thing you need to know is what you desire. And this is a big problem for some people. They are clueless. They've spent their whole life pleasing other people, not really living their authentic self, living the way they thought society wanted them to live, or their educational system that they went through, or their parents, or their spouse. And maybe they've lost sight of who they really want to be, or what they are and what they desire. And it's important to know what you desire. And once you understand that, then you can manifest it. But the first thing is to know what you desire. You look for clues. When you look for clues, it becomes kind of an adventure to figure out why you came here, what your purpose is. And many times we are very tuned into it when we're small children. We know why we came here and what our purpose was, but then it's kind of conditioned out of us, and that's not hard because we all go through school, we all are programmed by the towns we live in, the countries we live in, the people we're around, and we lose track of who we really are many times. But if you can remember what it is that really gets you excited, that you're really passionate about, that you would do even if you didn't get paid for it, that's what you want to be doing. Well, there are many ways to find your purpose. I'll give you a few examples of how you can do it. One of the ways that I like to teach people to find their purpose is by using creative visualization and a form of meditation called active meditation. When you go to sleep at night, you get yourself very relaxed and you sincerely want to know why you're here, what your purpose is, a clue as to what you're supposed to be doing next in this life, and you ask your higher self before you go to sleep and just release it and go to sleep knowing that somehow you're going to get an answer, and just feel very comfortable and confident that you will find an answer. It will show up. It might show up the next morning. It might show up in the middle of the night in a dream. I did this once where I asked my higher self one night after I had gone on a big shopping spree what I was supposed to do with all these new clothes I'd bought, because I wasn't really, this was after I'd retired from my airline career. In the middle of the night, a voice told me to go work part-time in Boston at the Christian Science Church. I got up out of my bed, I went to my computer, and there was my job, part-time tour guide needed. And they needed someone who was used to talking to people from all over the world, and I do study Christian Science. I've had many healings in that religion, and it was like the perfect job for me. So I went up there, applied, and got the job. And there was another time when I didn't know what to do with myself, and I surrendered. This is another technique. Now, the day that I surrendered, I was walking down my driveway with my dog. I had been retired for 2 years, and I was getting very frustrated trying to find something to do with myself, and nothing seemed to click. So I just surrendered, and I was yelling at God, saying, I give up. I don't know what you want me to do. I just completely give up. I can't take it anymore. The next day, I was guided to a bookstore in Rhode Island. I bought a book. I ended up teaching creative visualization meditation for 5 years as a result of buying that book that day. Well, one of my other favorite metaphysical teachers, Neville Goddard, likes to explain how you can step into the vibration of what it is that you want to manifest. You must assume the attitude that you will have when you have already achieved that thing that you desire. Now, when I was 21 years old, a man in Chicago that was living in the building I was living in when I became a stewardess taught me creative visualization. And I tried it. And it worked so well, that was what set me on the path, studying metaphysics. And I wanted to move to New York City. And he explained to me, all I had to do was write down, I now live in New York City in a beautiful apartment, and feel like I'd already moved there. Within 2 months, I was living in New York City in a beautiful apartment. My transfer had gone through, and there I was, living a whole new life. And it got my attention because I realized it was so effortless. It just absolutely manifested in a way that was perfect. And I said to myself, this is absolutely fantastic. And I realized that thought is very, very powerful. And this is what metaphysical teachers are telling people. Thought is the most powerful vibration there is. It's stronger than anything in the material world. And the inner world of thought is actually controlling the outer world of matter. So what you're thinking about all day long, you will be manifesting in your life, whether you want it or not. Because you're going to manifest what you don't want if you're thinking about it all the time, as well as what you do want. Now, thoughts that are good are actually more powerful than thoughts that are negative. That's the good news. You know, that's why good can always overcome evil. If you're a good person and you are trying to bring neutrality or healing to a situation, and you're tuned in to your Christ-like consciousness, your inner self, you can get results, and you can bring healing to a situation or to a person. But you have to realize, too, that you can easily be mesmerized, hypnotized by everything in the world, because that's the way the world is. All you have to do is turn on the television, and you can get real depressed watching the news real fast if you let it depress you. But you have a choice. You always have a choice as to what thoughts you want to think. So it's important for you to choose the right thoughts that are aligned with what you're desiring and what your purpose is. All right, let's say you are desiring something very positive to manifest in your life, something that'll make you feel more successful. What you have to do is reflect on different times in your life when you really felt good. We all have periods where we either fell in love or something really good happened to us. We got the job we wanted. We were on a vacation, something really spectacular. And you have to meditate on that feeling that you got when that was happening, when you were really in the flow. And you want to recapture that, because there is something about vibrations. You know, even Tesla said, if you want to understand the universe, study vibrations. So the higher vibrations, which are love and compassion and understanding and joy and happiness, these are the vibrations that we want to go into when we're manifesting. And in order to go into that vibration, you have to feel the way you felt when you were living in a situation that gave you that feeling, and you have to recapture it. And the more you practice that, the more you'll be able to do it on command. You know, healers talk about getting into the healing feeling, or getting themselves out of the way, meaning the ego, the human self that we operate in this world with, which is ego-driven, needs to get out of the way to let the higher self, which knows exactly how to make it happen and knows how to connect us with the people, circumstances, and situations that need to fall into place in order to make whatever it is we want to manifest happen. And anything is possible. That's where belief and faith come in. Trusting in your higher power is very important. The best way to trust your higher power is to have a demonstration. Once you have demonstrated to yourself that you tapped into your higher power, either asked your higher power to give you some guidance or to manifest something that you needed to show up in your life and it happened. If it can happen once, it can happen again and again and again. So the more you trust your higher power to guide you and to bring you what it is that you want to experience in this life, the more it becomes easy to trust. But at the same time, you will get to a place where rather than picking things that you want to manifest, like a new car or a new house or a new job or whatever, you will start to trust that your higher self, your godlike self, knows exactly what you need, and it will show up when you need it. And you start to almost lose your desires for things in the material world. This is kind of like a phase that people go through. You know, when they first discover this genie in the bottle that can manifest and bring into their experience anything they want, it's really fun to get the Mercedes or the beautiful house or the spouse or whatever it is. But sometimes there's a zinger attached if you realize it wasn't necessarily for your highest good. Because your soul knows what you need to go through in this life to grow itself, to develop. And you came here on a mission of not only waking up, we're all here to wake up, but we're also here to accomplish something with these other beings that we have contracts with. You know, there are people that say we make these contracts before we even enter this dimension. And because there is no time, we've created time in this three-dimensional world. We really live in eternity. We're already perfect. We're already happy. We're already awakened. We don't really need to do anything. But the more you move along the spiritual path, the more you'll realize that trusting your higher self, every time you get in your car and you drive, every time you go on a vacation, every time you go interview for a job or you hire someone, whatever you're doing, you can trust your higher self to make the right decisions, to guide you, to lead you. And life becomes a lot more joyful and trouble-free because you'll find you won't get sick anymore. If you do, it won't freak you out. You'll be able to deal with it, or you'll quickly recover. If you have a financial problem, you'll know how to deal with it because lack is not your birthright. Infinite abundance as well as perfect health are both your birthright. And you begin to identify with that and realize that you can claim that whenever you need it. So trusting in your higher self is a process, but it's exciting. And that's why it's good to study the writings of other people that are on the path that are further ahead than you, because we're all complete. But there are some people that have put down in their writings things that give us great direction when we need it. And it's always a good thing. So if you enjoyed this video and you like my style of teaching, and if you can see yourself getting results from this, then I have something you're really going to enjoy. It's called the Abundance X Factor. And it's perfect for anyone looking to fine-tune their abundance attraction skills. You can learn more about it by clicking the Abundance X Factor link right below this video.